Buried in ice, the crash that proved humans never surrender. The night swallowed the horizon as the transport burned across the polar sky and hope held on like a clenched fist. Steel screamed while wings tore free, and the crew learned gravity has a voice when it decides to speak. Fire met snow and vanished, leaving silence so complete that breath sounded like thunder inside cracked helmets. They crawled from wreckage under stars that felt close enough to cut and cold enough to punish every mistake. The ice field stretched forever, a white ocean without mercy and without memory of those who dared cross it. Captain Hale counted heads with shaking light and found fewer faces and names on the manifest. No one cried because tears froze before falling, and grief had to wait for warmer worlds. The beacon lay crushed beneath the hull, and the radio hissed like a dying animal refusing to sing. They knew rescue would not come soon, and the storm already gathered strength beyond the ridgeline. Hale spoke calm words that tasted thin yet carried weight because surrender was never part of training. They built shelter from shards and canvas while Wind tried to steal tools and courage together. Hands bled inside gloves, and blood turned dark and hard like a warning written in ice. Navigator Kira traced the sky and swore the stars were wrong as if the planet itself had shifted to test them. Medic Arun wrapped fractures with patience and jokes that felt warmer than fire. Rations were counted and counted again, and promises were made to share until the end or until rescue. Night became day, became night without difference, and time froze along with everything else. The storm arrived like a wall and erased tracks and hope and any thought of easy survival. Shelter groaned while snow buried the wreck deeper, as if the world wanted proof of defeat. They took turns at watch, listening for the crack that would end them all. Hale remembered the oath and the faces back home, and chose action over waiting. They scavenged fuel cells and fashioned heat from ingenuity and stubborn refusal to fade. Kira mapped a route toward a ridge where signals might travel farther. Every step was pain, every breath a lesson, and every fall a reminder that quitting would be easier. Arun carried the injured and accepted help without pride because unity mattered more than strength. The ice creaked like an old bridge and opened fissures that demanded respect. They learned to read the land by sound, by feel, by the way the wind pressed against their suits. One night the aurora burned green above them and lifted spirits like a banner of promise. They spoke of families and future meals and ships that would come because belief feeds endurance. A crevasse claimed a pack and nearly claimed Kira until hands locked and whole with raw will. Hale lost feeling in fingers and kept moving because leaders moved first and stopped last. They reached the ridge at dawn, if dawn could be named in that pale world. The signal rose weak, then stronger, then steady like a heartbeat returning. A response answered thin but real, and the team laughed until coughing stole the sound. Rescue ships battled weather and time while the survivors held their ground. When engines finally roared overhead, the ice seemed to retreat in shame. Medics arrived and lifted them gently from a place that had tried to break them. The wreck lay buried now, a scar beneath snow that would remember nothing. The crew carried scars that would remember everything. They spoke later of fear and loss and the quiet moments where quitting whispered. They spoke louder of choice and effort and the power of standing together. The crash became a story told to cadets who needed proof beyond slogans. Proof that humans endure not because they ignore fear but because they face it. Proof that surrender is a decision, not a destiny. Buried in ice, the lesson waited patient and cold. Humans never surrender because hope is heavier than gravity. The rescue ships vanished into cloud, and the survivors felt lighter yet unfinished. They knew the story did not end with extraction because endurance leaves echoes. Hale watched the white plane shrink and promised the planet it had not won. Back aboard, the carrier warmth returned slowly like trust after betrayal. Frostbite was treated and bones set, and sleep came hard with dreams of wind. Kira stared at charts and smiled because the stars were right again. Arun logged every injury and every laugh because records teach future lives. Debriefings asked for timelines and errors and lessons carved into memory. They answered honestly and refused the comfort of excuses. Engineers studied the crash and found faults and fixes waiting to be made. Command asked what saved them, and the room went quiet. Hale said people saved people, and preparation met refusal to quit. The report carried a line that spread across fleets like fire. Humans never surrender even when the world tries to bury them. Cadets listened wide-eyed and felt courage settle into their bones. Simulators grew colder, storms louder, odds crueler by design. Instructors pushed until limits spoke and then pushed again. Some failed and learned and returned stronger than before. Others discovered resolve they never knew lived inside. The ice world faded into myth yet remained present in every drill. Years later, a memorial plaque marked a crash site beneath eternal snow. Pilots slowed when passing overhead and saluted the unseen. Children back home asked what bravery looked like. Parents answered with stories of teamwork and grit and care. The crew reunited, older scarred, smiling with shared understanding. They toasted to those lost and to those found again in the cold. Hale retired and taught with calm eyes and steady voice. Kira charted new routes through dangerous skies. Arun led relief missions where warmth arrived with medicine. The lesson endured because it was lived, not spoken. When darkness pressed and systems failed across the stars, someone remembered the ice and chose to stand. Someone took a step forward and another and another. Hope held fast like a clenched fist. Buried in ice, the truth remained clear. Humans never surrender.